Well, welcome back to another episode of Coaching Caffeine and Comedy. I'm your host, Hayley Kobza.
And I'm Lena.
How have you been, Lena?
Well, we're starting open gym for junior high volleyball, so life is intense right now.
I bet.
That's 1 day a week for an hour.
That's a lot of volleyball.
A lot of people can't handle that kind of schedule, but you know what? I feel like I'm doing really good right now.
That is,
yes,
it's beautiful for you.
It is.
I, on the other hand, just finished up with summer camps, and we had about, I'm going to estimate 200 humans in the gym.
Gosh.
And I survived.
You did, and you had 3 of mine. So
yeah,
power to you.
And they were
Thank you
great
for taking them off my hands. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, everybody, for the free babysitting that McCook Community College did for a hot minute. So,
well, you know, you got to do your part.
And hopefully they can at least pepper in the backyard without breaking anything inside.
Well, yeah, they were trying to do that even before camp. And I was like, you know what? Take it outside. 2 picture frames went down, and I was like, enough. Okay, that's why you're going to camp. Okay.
And also on the campsite, I just want to throw out a huge shout out to all the host families that hosted all of my players that came in to help for camps. You guys are absolute saints.
You're right. We are.
I will let you come to a game for free.
Oh, you know what? That's nice.
I think it's
I already have a booster card. I still get it. So maybe like a free popcorn. I would appreciate that.
We could do that.
Yes.
We could do a free popcorn.
I mean, for those host families, one, you got to, spruce the house a little bit.
Got to clean it.
Got to clean it. And then I got to do food prep.
Yes.
Not my normal food prep just to survive as a family, but now I got to feed athletes. Okay, that's fine.
Pretend like you make meals every day for your family,
which I do. So yeah,
so
we sit around the table. Not as much with softball, but whatever. We do sit around the table, and I'm a librarian, so financially that has been a big adjustment for our family. So yeah,
the donut slinging gig isn't giving you a little bit more extra income.
Well, it is, but not enough to feed your athletes.
I'm sorry, but I don't know if you are. Huge thank you to all of you.
Yeah, good job to the other host families.
Yeah, you guys did phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay, enough about us.
That's right.
We have such a fun guest not in studio, on phone with us.
On the phone with us, yes.
So let's welcome Jordan Larson, a.k.a. the Governor.
The Governor.
To our podcast.
Yes.
Jordan, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, so stoked to be here. This is awesome. I'm so fired up.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's be honest. Are you a little nervous to talk with us? I mean, I am a junior high volleyball coach, so I'm sure that's intimidating.
Just absolutely, definitely. My palms are sweating. I got all the signs of nervousness for sure.
She's having to pull over on the side of the road to talk to us. I mean, this is an important conversation.
Yes. Jordan, have you been on a podcast before?
I have actually just did one yesterday. So
so we're competing.
Yeah, some no-name podcast that's global and probably has a lot more sponsors than we do. Yeah.
No, that's not what matters. What matters is the people and your
exactly right.
Somebody gets it.
Yes, Southwest Nebraska.
I love it.
Is here to represent Southwest Nebraska. Here we go.
That's what's up.
Yes.
Hey, and welcome back to Nebraska. Saw that fun news here the other week.
Thank you. Yes, super stoked. It's it's been in the making for a little while. It's spring, and just great conversations with John, and the girls are awesome, and it's so fun to be back, right? And see also what has changed since I've been there, right? So much has changed, and but then a lot of the people have been the same. So it's been really so fun, and I'm really excited to be back.
That's so cool. When do you report back, like officially report for those duties?
Yeah, so I'm still training with the national team during the summer, which I'm very lucky that John's letting me do both. And so we finish Olympic qualifier like September 25th. That's if I end up going to that tournament. I could be back as early as I think like September 15th or as late as after the 25th. So, but I'm working remotely now, and I'm setting up Zooms and chats with the girls, and just trying to stay connected from afar. And they've been awesome. And now technology these days, volumetrics, you can do a lot from far, and it's been really great.
Jordan, do you think nationals is equivalent to like playing at the marina, which would be like lake sand volleyball? Like that's what I do on Sundays. Do you think we're in kind of like the same training program?
Oh gosh,
maybe. Absolutely.
Yes.
If I would assume that it's very similar.
Yes.
I would have no doubts. Even what you just described, totally.
Yeah, I feel like my underhand sky ball is really brings a high level of competitiveness to the game.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
So we've asked a few questions, Jordan. We're going to give you a little warm up just to make sure you're really ready for the rest of this podcast. Can you do that?
Okay.
Okay.
I hope so. I hope so.
It's intense.
It's not as easy as everyone says it is.
Yeah. So we're gonna give you 30 seconds.
Yes.
Oh boy.
30 seconds.
I don't do well under pressure. I've been in high pressure situations, and I don't do well.
But have you though? I mean,
Yeah, I don't
have you
feel-
really
yeah.
been? I mean, I feel like you got to do hard things sometimes, Jordan. You got to just step up.
Gotta
and just,
serve that game point serve and just
You're right.
get it
You're
in the
right.
court.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right, we're going to give you 30 seconds.
Yes.
Lena is going to give you a letter, and you
Yes.
need to come up with 15 words that begin with this letter that are not a city,
Oh my.
a name, or
Yes.
anything, like,
yeah.
city
You guys,
or
this
name.
This is like my ultimate weakness. I'm terrible at these
I'm
games.
glad you have one. So we're going to really exploit that in the next 30 seconds.
Yes,
okay?
and here we go.
Yes.
Lena's going to give you your letter, and it is
C.
C. It can't be a city or a what?
a city or a name.
name.
Or person's name.
Cat,
Yep.
camel, color,
You're doing great.
courage,
Ooh.
Oh, good. You're at 4.
car.
5.
Oh,
10 seconds left. Yeah. Oh God.
wow. There is a lot of C words in this world, and I don't know. Is there a color? Color? I said color already.
Okay.
time.
Time's up. Yikes.
Yep. This is definitely
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
I'm not good at.
No.
Jordan, you did great. If you ever want something like with your players, you can
I feel
throw
like
that
we
at
need
them.
to be honest. That wasn't that good, Jordan. I
Yeah,
mean,
that wasn't-
that wasn't good. I mean,
I absolutely agree with you. That is one area in my life that I need to be better at.
We've had one person was like, I don't think there's any words that start with that letter. So you did better than that.
yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yep.
I gotta charge my car. Give me 1/2 second.
Yeah.
Okay.
you
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I
I bet she's so excited to be talking to us.
How could you not be?
She is racing back into her car right now to be
Yes.
like,
Don't roll an ankle.
Don't. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Got it.
Oh
Got
my
it.
gosh.
I'm back.
That
Rock and roll.
fast?
That was
Holy
fast.
smokes.
Okay. So start us from the very beginning. You're originally from Hooper, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Like, how did you get into volleyball? Did you do all sports?
So, I did. So I actually come from a pretty athletic family. My dad actually played football at Wayne State. My mom played sports all throughout high school. I think she actually still might hold like a free throw percentage record at my high school. So they really just wanted to get me like in all different sports. So I actually started out with soccer. I got into softball. I started playing volleyball at the YMCA. I did a little bit of basketball when I was younger, but I quickly learned soccer wasn't my thing. I hate getting kicked in the shins and running. And then I did gymnastics as well. I started getting headaches as a kid, and I just grew too fast, so that one was out. And then softball, I played pretty like a long time, and I honestly thought about going into softball as well. I was a decent pitcher. But then I really just fell in love with volleyball and basketball. And I was also, I learned piano when I was a young kid, and then I also was in the band. So I played the trumpet, and then I was in the marching band. I had to switch over to baritone, all the things. So I got to play basketball and volleyball all through high school, and then I ran track as well. So I feel very lucky that where I grew up, I could do a lot of everything and kind of really find what my niche was.
Jordan, I'm also a musical athlete. I played the trombone. And I
Love
actually,
that.
yes, marching band, jazz band, pit band. It's a really beautiful thing. And that's what is awesome about small towns is you get to do a little bit of
Yeah.
everything.
Like you did
love it.
all the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jordan and I are
Exactly.
close to the same age, Lena. You're a little bit over that age bracket, but
I don't know if that was necessary to bring
I
up,
just wanted to
but
throw that out there.
I mean, oh, you guys are what, born in the 80s?
yes.
Okay, that's
Lena
awesome.
Lena is in her prime. Did you
Yeah.
say prime?
Yeah, you say, Brian, when you're
Yeah.
closing in on 50, life isn't getting any better.
She's
than
great, though.
that. Yes.
Do you have any siblings?
No, I'm the only child. Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
I know. My
Yeah.
parents, they had me, and they're like, "This is enough."
that's why not? Yeah.
That's awesome.
So no, actually, my parents got divorced when I was young. So my parents got divorced when I was 3, and then my mom actually married when I was 10. And my mom and my stepdad tried a couple times, but were unsuccessful. And so again, I was just enough. They're like, "This is it. This is enough."
You know, a one and done is better than an accident, like Hayley. I mean,
Yes,
she's way down the line.
Zip
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Lena.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are you most excited about in returning to Nebraska, besides having a Runza?
Yes. Oh, that
With the
you know,
ranch.
Yeah.
I mean, all the things.
Yeah.
You know, I think I look back on my experience, and even now, just how much the game has grown, right? Like I think back to when I played, I was in the Coliseum, right? And the crowds were large, obviously, even at that time. But now, like the event that's put on, I mean, it's just like the graphics, the lights, and just seeing that. And then I also think like building a community again. I've traveled the world, I've seen all these places, and like home has been where my two suitcases are, and I kind of excited to get to know the community more again and kind of be immersed in that, and just the love of the game, and seeing these young athletes like just get to do what they love and come out and perform in front of such a crowd that just loves the game, and being surrounded by that energy, like actually it's giving me chills right now, because it's like there's really no place like it. And I even get compliments now overseas. They're like, Nebraska volleyball, where's Nebraska, and then but now it's like it's on the map, and like it's really, really so cool. And it makes me so proud, just of obviously born and raised there, but also just what people that surrounded the program with and how much it's grown over the years.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. Like if you've ever been to a Nebraska game, it is. I remember my mom taking me to the Coliseum as a child, and that's when I'm like, I love volleyball. And the cheerleaders at that time, when they'd come up, like you could slap their hand if you're on the second level because they were right there. What are your duties, like as the assistant coach? Like what are your main duties that Coach Cook is going to have you like do?
Yeah, so still kind of trying to learn and just help where I can. Obviously, like I'm still like here playing presently, right? So most of my time is still focusing on me and my body and making sure I'm right and good enough for the girls here, right? And then secondly, I was in the gym a little bit before they left for Brazil, and I spoke a lot to the pin hitters and passers, and so. But again, I think that understanding that I still have a lot to learn in coaching, and yes, I've seen volleyball at a very high level, and I've been surrounded by amazing coaches. But I also think like obviously John has done a great job. The assistant coaches there have done a great job, and so coming in and trying to add value where I feel like I can, but also like not changing so much, right? Because they're already really good. It's just how can we get 1 or 2% or things that are, that I see that are just kind of on the minute level, that if we make these little changes, maybe it could help in the long run, So just really trying to stay in my zone and say when I feel like I should say, but like not overstepping, and just really being patient because I still have a lot to learn as well.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Jordan, is one of the hardest things being a collegiate athlete? Like, what are the things that your players will struggle with outside of just being on the court?
Yeah, for sure. So we were talking to some recruits this week, and, John does this thing. I think he still does it. And I did it when I was in college. We learn how to juggle, right? Because there's so much, it's a metaphor, right? Obviously, but you juggle social life, you juggle studies, you juggle trying to be the best you can physically, and now with NIL, like that's adding like another like layer of things, right? Because there's an added distraction. So I think trying for them to understand kind of what is their priority and what they want to be and what they want to do, right? And ultimately we're just there to help facilitate that and try to get them to be the best versions of themselves, right? And how do you bring out the best in that? So I think just continue to have those conversations and kind of flex that as much as we can is really important.
Wow. Going back, so where were you looking besides Nebraska to go play out of high school?
Not really a lot of places. I did a college camp, like with USA Volleyball, like in one winter, and I really got close with the UCLA assistant, Kim Jag was her name at the time, and we really bonded because she also had gone through breast cancer, which my mom had gone through breast cancer. So I really, really got to know her and really just liked her a lot. And I actually never went and visited UCLA, but I was open to the idea, but I had committed to Nebraska too early on. But that was another school that I was considering just solely based on my relationship with her.
Okay, so then you ended up going to Nebraska. When you went there, was there something that like Coach Cook was like, Jordan, you have got to get better at this if you want to be better than what you are now?
Yeah. I think I needed more mass. I think I was pretty skinny, you know, and, but I think I needed to get in the weight room and get stronger. And I needed to hit the ball harder. I think I wasn't really, even coming out of college, I wasn't known for being this, attacker. Originally the conversation when I got to the national team was like, oh, she'd be a great libero, and so I really had to understand what my capacity was in that and how to be more of an offensive threat. But then also I think, like the question you just asked about balancing, right? I think a lot of times my priorities were a little bit out of whack. Like I put social life sometimes in front of other things, and because it's tough, is you want to be a kid still and you want to go out and you want to have fun, but if you have a game the next day, you can't really do that, and so really understanding what the give and take was, and I really had to learn how to manage that myself.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Okay, give me your funniest memory of Coach Cook and your funniest memory of being at Nebraska.
Oh, geez, my memory is so terrible. Oh, goodness. Even now, like, John is more, I would say, sarcastic than I remember. So I would say now it's funny now seeing on the other side of it, right, and learning about that. I don't remember, like, funny times, really. Like, he was always pretty serious with us, I felt like, back then. And, sorry, I don't...
No, you're
there's
good.
Nothing in my head. And then, sorry, what was the other question? Was the funniest memory?
Like any funny memories, like with your teammates or while being at Nebraska?
Yeah, obviously, like road trips and like getting ready for matches. Like we had some inside jokes. I will keep those to myself.
Yes, for sure.
Because my friends probably would kill me if I said that. But it's little inside jokes here and there, but nothing that was like super crazy that I can remember. So sorry, kind of boring.
No, you're good. Do you still talk to any of your teammates from back then? I'm assuming so.
Yes. Yeah. So my graduating class was Rachel Schwartz and Amanda Gates, and then obviously talked to Maggie Griffin, who's heading BCN. But our class really became close, and I'm so grateful. They're always like, we may go a couple months without talking, but we pick up the phone and we're right back where we like left. So I feel so lucky to have them in my corner. But I also feel like I have a pretty good relationship with almost everybody that I've played with at Nebraska, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, you talk about, when you are an athlete and when you're in season, that social life aspect. What is it now for kids in high school who are wanting to go on? Like, how soon do they really have to start kind of eliminating some of those things that are a part of like growing up and being young and, getting out and doing things? Like,
yeah, that's a great question. I think my parents taught me pretty early on, like, discipline. And I think my biggest worry, even now, right, is like disappointing my parents. I think that was such a huge fear of mine that, like, don't get me wrong, I broke a couple rules and I was not the best of child, all the time. But I think that I learned that fear in itself, like, really, like, scared me. And I don't know, I just think that I was so determined that, like, I think at the age of 12, I was walking around like, I'm going to be an Olympian. And like, first of all, I can't believe I was walking around saying that. But then secondly, like, I wholeheartedly believed in my heart and I was willing to do whatever it took. And I think if you're so focused on that, then the other areas like will fall into place. But I think it's up to the person and kind of really where their priorities are. And that right. takes some hard work and dedication on their end to set aside time to really hone in on that. And my parents really took it, like, club volleyball is not cheap.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
My parents were like, hey, like, if you really want to do this and you see a future in this is your job. Like, you have to view this as your job, even though you don't have time to go actually out and get a job. This is taking money from our account. And like, if you aren't going to take it seriously, then we're not going to let you do it. And so I really took that to heart. And I really think that's also paid off for me. Sorry, I'm a really long answer, but
no, it's great. This is great.
It's really paid off for me, like, now playing professionally, because now, like, volleyball, when you go play professionally, it is more of a job, right? It's fun, yeah, in some capacity, but also they're hiring you to perform.
Exactly.
And if you don't perform, then you're not going to get paid. So I think I learned that skill early on, that like I didn't want to disappoint anybody. If someone's hiring me from overseas, I don't want to disappoint them, and I'm going to do everything I can. And that means I'm getting good rest, I'm recovering, I'm eating well, I'm getting I'm watching volleyball all the time. Like that's my dedication to my job. And because I also want to be really good. So I think learning those skills as early as you can is really important.
So what would your thoughts be? I'm a mom of three girls, and they're back to back, so their ages are close. I will often say to them, you may not always be competing against the best athletes. You are competing against the people who have the opportunity and the financial ability and the accessibility to play. What would your thoughts be on that? Would you agree, or do you feel like, no, like everybody has the same avenues to get there?
Yeah, no, I don't think that everybody does, but I do think that there are opportunities. I mean, I think it's just how you look at it, right? Like I was going to play club, yes, but also the hours outside of the gym that nobody was watching,
right?
Like that helped pay off time in the gym. Right. So I can't tell you how many times I think my neighbors were so sick of me because I would literally go out and hit the ball against the garage. Right. Like just continuous. Like I don't know how many kids are doing that these days. Right. Like it's more of like I'm going to stay in on my iPad and I'm going to get on my phone. And, like how many opportunities are they? If they can't get them in the gym, then how many are taking them outside the gym as well?
Right.
Because there's other ways to get better.
Yeah.
Not even having the financial capacity to be in a certain situation. Exactly. It's going out and playing with the ball by yourself.
Right.
So, yes. Or dragging a parent out there or doing something like that. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that's spot on. And like when you were young, I know you mentioned like your parents, separated.
Yep.
But did your mom work when you were young, or did you have the opportunity, you lived in a community where you could go outside? You weren't raised in daycare
Yeah, so my mom was working part-time, and my dad was a teacher. My stepdad ran basically his own business. So, like, my parents were really flexible and did such a great job co-parenting. And, like, my mom and stepdad actually coached me in, like, softball. So I was out, like, even pitching, like, along our house, like, constantly. My stepdad was catching for me. I was attempting to play with my mom. Like, I still think this day, I'm like, she would, like karate chop the ball, like, when she was getting ready to, I'm like, Mom, I'm, like, teaching her how to hit, and, but yeah, my dad was out playing catch with me always, like footballs, and, they were very active and really tried to just get me out. And if I was sitting on the couch for too long, they're like, all right, Jordan, time to get up, So, like, yeah, I don't know, just really the accountability piece was huge for me.
I think that's something we talk a lot, like in, I'm at the junior high level. So obviously at the very bottom level of like where you two are in the sense of, working with college athletes. But one thing in talking with other junior high coaches or even like PE teachers, the accessibility for kids to be outside with a parent has significantly declined in the sense of them just getting outside on their own or with a parent. And it has changed so much. I mean, what you said, our parks used to be full of kids playing pickup games or, just being outside and getting things started on their own. And we're not, unfortunately, seeing as much of that. So that's great that you had that opportunity and the drive, because that's the difference too.
And why do you think that? Is it COVID related, or is it just we're taking on higher workload capacity, or like what's alluding to that?
I think a lot. I mean, my generation, most of us grew up with having a parent at home. I don't have any friends I grew up with who are raised in daycare. And right now, daycares take a majority of our kids. Our kids are being raised inside in the sense of they're not just especially when they start to age out, they're getting into that school age, they're still going to daycare. They're not being left at home where a lot of us were, when we were 7 and 8, our parents felt comfortable leaving us at home. So you could go outside and play basketball. You go outside and, play volleyball. Well, if you're at daycare, you're not, and I'm not saying anything negative on daycare. I'm just saying, or if you're even in an in-home or your grandma's watching you, some of those things are different. To me, that's some part of it. And then I think the workload that parents are taking on. And COVID has had a significant impact on the amount of kids going out for sports. We've seen that at our level, just with city league opportunities or YMCA opportunities. The numbers are much lower than they were pre-COVID. But there's another element to it as well. Yeah,
for sure.
I also think, though, there's the lack of the athlete that do the self practices. Like you said that
sure.
you used to do like, I mean, and Jordan, you can attest to this at the level that you're at. Like, we'll tell players like the gym is open. Like if you have stuff to work on, they don't. Like you might have one, like we only carry 14 on our roster. It's rare to find people that practice by themselves, like self-practice. Like it is you just don't find players like that anymore, which is kind of crazy to me.
It is. And you see it at our level too, you know, in some capacity. And it makes me sad because I think as much as I am one for like accessibility, I'm like, oh, I can order this on an app and like get it, whatever. Like it's great. Right. But like also when I go overseas and things are, you know, like I just came from Italy and like walking to a cafe, like they love it, you know, and like it's just our worlds become so automatic, and it's like, all right, well, here you want this, here's the answer for it, and it's efficient, right? But it's also like we're losing this like almost like grit and like understanding how to work through, you know, harder things of how to get something, you know, and so I just hope it doesn't hurt us, you know, 20 years down the road either, you know? So
I do think one thing that you said, Jordan, which is so cool. So you said at the age of 12, you said you were going to be an Olympian, right?
Yeah.
But
my parents were like, yeah, you used to walk around saying that. I'm like, oh my God.
So at the age of 12, you said that, and you still did all those other activities in the high school. Like nowadays, I feel like if any child was like, I'm going to be an Olympian, they aren't doing anything but the sport that they think they're going to make it in. And they're not doing anything else. And which is also, I mean, we're from, you know, Southwest Nebraska. We're a small town. And even now it's like, let them play all the sports.
Yep, exactly. And I hope that we kind of eventually get back to that. It's so hard now that you commit. But then I also, that's why, you know, you're seeing burnout at the highest level as well, because they just are their bodies are tired because they're only doing one motion, and they're mentally exhausted because they've just been grinding, and it's hindering us down the road, I feel like. So
being overseas, have you learned any like new languages, or how is that with the language barrier?
No. So I would say I played in Russia for 5 years or 5 seasons, and that's probably the most language I had to learn, just because there was only like 2 girls on my team that spoke decent English. So I had to really hone in on that. And so I probably understood more than what I could speak. And then I lived in Istanbul, Turkey, and I even talked to the girls. I was like, I really want to learn Turkish. And they're like, there's no need. Like all of them spoke English. Our coach spoke English. So I learned a few Turkish words, but nothing and then I was like, when am I ever going to use Turkish again? Probably never. So I didn't want to learn it really. And then I was in Shanghai, China, and I had a translator. So again, like learning Mandarin was incredibly hard. And then I was just in Italy. So I've been trying to learn more Italian, just because I think it can be used, you know, maybe down the road if I ever travel back there or things like that. So, but other than that, not much. I do think that like, this is again a long-winded answer. I take back, every time I come back to the United States, I just think about how blessed we are. We really have a really good life here, and people want to be here, and we are so, so blessed. So I always try to remember that every time I come home.
Yeah, that's huge. That's so amazing. Okay, so of all the places you traveled, what were some of the favorite food items you had the opportunity? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this one restaurant in Turkey. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a famous steakhouse. It's called Nusret. The guy that owns it, his nickname's Salt Bay because of how he like salts the meats. I don't know, whatever. They have this dessert. It's called baklava. It's a very famous Turkish dessert. And at the restaurant, they serve it. They come out and they like pull the top off of this. It's kind of like a cake-ish. And then they put like a layer of ice cream in it, and then they like put it back down to the top, and it's like nice and warm. Oh, it's so good.
That sounds right up my alley.
Sounds heavenly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also at this steak restaurant, they have like this entree. They come out. It's like a plate, like a hot plate, just butter, like sizzling butter, and they put like bread on there. So you toast both sides of the bread, and then you put like a very thin layer of meat on it, and it is like it's just like the meat is so tender it like melts in your mouth. I like the spice of Turkish food. Like they bring out like a ton of like different salads kind of for entrees and different things. I really like that. I would say in Italy, like obviously like the food is incredible. Like the gelato, I mean, you can go carb crazy. It's unreal. So it's really, I mean, the food there is so good.
It sounds
so
like
fresh.
I would be getting new pants there as well. So.
Yes. Exactly. But the thing is, like their portion size, you can eat pasta and like not really like gain that much weight because they eat it all proportionally. Like, so I think for us, we just have such large portions that's where our
oh yeah,
our problem.
you get pasta anywhere in the U.S. and it's for like 4.
Yeah, you're taking it home.
Yeah, is this
Exactly.
the family size?
Well, I mean, some of us are taking it home, others aren't. You know. God.
So Jordan, are you still wanting to play? Like, because I know like you're stepping into this assistant coaching role, but like I also don't feel like you're like done.
Yeah, no. So I'm obviously playing with the national team this
Right.
summer, and then I'll be with Nebraska in the fall, and then the plan is to go play somewhere in the spring.
Okay,
and
cool.
then I'm gonna try.
wow, okay.
I'm gonna try for Paris next summer. So that's the hope, and I'm still feeling really so good. And I practiced today, and I'm kind of on a slow ramp up because I just had a small injury from my knee in Italy. And I only got to play like 2 sets today. And I'm like, I just want more. Like, I want to keep playing. So I love that I'm still like, it's still in me and I still want to go after it and get after it. So that's cool.
I mean, I'm a junior college coach, and I bet the scrimmaging against coaches versus players is about the same level as if Jordan was to jump scrimmage team.
Oh,
They'd
yes.
Yeah. My team would be like, yeah, I think we're good today. We don't need to play any 6-on-6.
When Jordan, when you're a high level athlete and you're in good shape, you're training, you're eating well, how do you challenge yourself outside of volleyball? Like, what are things that you're doing to better yourself and to do hard things outside of what you're already good at?
Yeah. I really try to surround myself with good people, and like people that are like high level thinkers and like get into high performance and really understanding that. So I try to just educate myself on that part of it. I like to watch a lot of video. I think as I've gotten older, I've watched less and less. But yeah, I just half the time too is just kind of relaxing and how can I get my body to recover and feel good the next day? So if that's sitting in Normatec, if that's taking a nice hot shower, just kind of getting my mind off of things like is really important and getting a good night's sleep. So, but yeah, half the time I'm just like running from here to there. So a lot of times I'm just really busy.
So when you say getting, good sleep, when you're traveling and going different places and obviously different countries, time change, like how long is it taking you, your body to adjust, like until you feel like you're back at like peak performance?
Yeah. That's a great question. So actually, like when I'm on like pretty like long flights, like I've actually learned to fast like 16 hours roughly, because sometimes your body's all messed up, you don't know, and like when you fast, like it helps kind of reset your stomach, which then kind of helps recenter your clock.
Okay.
And so it's helped me get on time zone quicker. So usually, like now that I'm fasting, like sometimes I'll get there day 1, I'll feel tired. Day 2, I don't feel this massive lull like in the middle of afternoon,
Okay.
as what I would used to in the past. And then usually day 3, like I'm really good. But they do say that for every time zone you change, that's the amount of days that it takes to get on that time zone.
Oh.
But sometimes we don't even have that time. So right before the 2016 Olympics, we traveled to Hong Kong 3 times in like a month period. So it was like flew there 1 week, came back to LA, had to fly out the next week, came back, flew out again, and then came back. And like, I mean, that's a 10 hour difference. So that travel was brutal.
Oh my gosh.
So
when you're, as adults, and I think when we get older, we realize the importance of sleep. When you were a college athlete, do you think you valued that the way you do now?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
And
I feel like college athletes are like, we don't need sleep.
Yeah.
And then they complain about it.
And don't get me wrong, like I think you can function, right? Like now, is it like at the highest level? Like definitely not. And don't get me wrong, like even as now I've gotten older, I'm not the greatest sleeper. So I sometimes will take melatonin at night just to help me get to sleep, because sometimes my brain is just, it won't shut off. But other than that, I really try to like shut it down and really be conscious about, even if I'm not like sleeping, like being in bed and really just relaxing. So, but it is really important. You can function, but is it the best for your body, and are you getting the most out of your body?
Yeah.
What is your favorite like food? Like if you got to pick whatever you wanted to eat, what would you pick in Nebraska?
Oh gosh, in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I could. I mean, I could eat Mexican food all the time, and I don't know if Nebraska has the best Mexican food, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I would say I'm a big steak girl. Like I can eat steak and potato and be just fine and dandy as well.
So when you lived in Lincoln, like where was your go-to eatery? Like if you were like, hey, we got to go eat here, like, you know, because like every town has that place. Like we have a Mexican restaurant here that's like everyone's got to go here. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think like when I was in school, like Laszlo's was like kind of a little bit upper, like nicer, class. You can get kind of anything you want there. Like I like the variety. But I just, as of recently, like I really like Tavern 180. So they have a really good menu and steak and all the things. So I really like that.
Do you have any pets? Probably not.
Yes, I actually do. I have an English bulldog. His name is Spud. Yeah.
What was his name?
Spud.
Spud. Oh.
Yeah, he's a cutie.
Like a little potato.
Does he get to go with you when you travel?
No, he's still in California here. So, okay. But and I'm not going to be doing that much travel, I don't think. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. I've always wanted to go. Like I've been to California once, but like, do you like California? Like, how would you compare that to? Are the people nice?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yes, they are. I mean, they're definitely busier, right? Like they're on the go, and so like people could maybe take that as like they're not really wanting to talk necessarily, but I think now I've lived in so many big cities, right? I think about Shanghai, Milan, Istanbul, like some of the biggest cities in the world. And now I sometimes come back to Nebraska and I'm like, where are all the people? What's going on, you know? And so now being in California, like I've been here now for 15 summers basically. And I've learned to love the life. It's become kind of a second home for me. And I like it. Plus the weather is, it's unbelievable. So it's so nice.
Truth. That like 70 to 80 degree weather all the time. That's like,
yes,
pretty beautiful.
It is.
I can handle that.
June gloom is no joke. It's finally sunny today, and it hasn't been sunny for a while. So,
yikes!
Yeah.
A few more questions before we wrap up. Are you so excited for this outdoor spring game, the fall scrimmage?
Yeah, it's gonna be unreal. Like I still can't believe it. Like, and then the country concert afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm actually sad that I'm gonna have to miss it. I was debating about like if I called Karch, hey Karch, can I just fly home to Nebraska for one day and come back? So, but
do you need someone to just fill in for you? Like, do we need to go and sit? We could do that.
Yeah, I think he would appreciate that.
Yes.
So I'll be like, hey,
if he
Karch,
just needs a fill in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here, but I have someone that's going to take my place.
Yes.
So you shouldn't miss a beat. So yeah, I'll get on that. That's a great.
Well, you mentioned you like surrounding yourself, with high level thinkers. People. I mean, I assume that's why you wanted to hang out with us for this time that we have you. And so anything we can do to help you out, we want to return the favor. So
I now that I have your number, I so appreciate that. I'm
excellent.
Gonna
Perfect.
Yes.
Funny, I presented this year at AVCA, and Karch was at the same time I was presenting. And one of my good coaching friends, and luckily people showed up to mine, so I was like, okay, there's something. And a good coaching friend, I was like, you better come to my session. And he was like, okay, yeah, let me just skip out on the Karch to come to yours. And I was like,
it's called friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, come support. I bet it's on YouTube. You can find the same thing that he's going to say later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
What coach, you've had numerous coaches, which coach to you is like the most chill, relaxing, I don't know, like sarcastic. I like sarcastic coaches. I like people that like, they make it light by making the,
play funny or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Karch is very calm, like, in his demeanor and his approach. And, even sometimes I'm like, Karch, it's okay to like yell at us, like sometimes we need it, and, yeah, but I think that he's definitely, and I just keep in the back of my mind, like I've always heard like calm breeds calm. So if you're calm, like your players are going to be calm.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he does a really nice job with that. But I've had really like Hugh is also very calm. John is obviously like on the sideline, relatively calm, so I've been very blessed to have really great examples along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how people would describe you?
Yes. I am pretty chill compared. I mean,
I meant Jordan, but that's fine.
You were looking right at me.
That's true.
I don't know what's
you're
happening.
the only one in the room. So
Yeah.
Jordan, how would people describe you in your presence on,
Yeah. I mean, I think I have a sense of calmness and steadiness, and even though sometimes internally I think I'm raging. I'm just like I'm like just competitive. Obviously, there's competitive fire, but just wanting to be good. And if play's not being made, then it's upsetting to me. But it's my exterior for sure. It definitely comes across, I think, more calm than anything.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I would not be described that way, but I'm also junior high. It's a whole different ballgame, nothing calm about it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Have you ever played with a player that made you better?
Player that made me better. Yes, I think I've played with a lot of great girls, and I think about internationally, like the teams that I've been on, like just stacked. I mean, we have just uber amounts of talent, and I always try to take something from everyone, right? Like what makes them successful and why. And I think just diving into like having those conversations and learning from them too, I think has been really impactful. I wouldn't say there's been one that's like had this gnarly impact, but like I just been surrounded by really, really high level people and players like most of my career. So I think in general, like just being in that environment, your growth is just going to escalate that much quicker,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to see you on, we probably will never get to a game this year, but on TV.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know. I was thinking today, I was like, I need to like get like coaching gear. I'm like, what do I wear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to look good.
That is
true. You got to
true.
look good and coach good, right? Like that's the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, I got to start looking for wardrobe pieces and all the things.
That's one of my things. I think from like watching coaches, I'm like, the coaches that look good, like they coach better, I feel like, and they just look like they're there to win. So like I'm in Region 9 junior college, like it's nothing crazy, but I always wear heels. I always try to look presentable. Mm-hmm. And then I know I can't be like stomping around and looking like an idiot in heels either. So it kind of helps out.
For sure. No, I think that's like you gotta be confident, because then also I think it exudes confidence to your players.
Exactly.
So I
agree with that.
Yeah.
So we finish up our podcast. We ask a few questions just because this is like where we usually get all the stuff that we like to listen to or read. So first off, are you reading anything currently?
Am I reading? I'm not. There's a book on my nightstand, but I have yet to open it, and it's something between us.
Oh, okay.
Something
between us.
It's a really fun, like I have it in my head what it looks like, but I can't remember the title.
I'm usually like that too. I'll get a book and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna read it eventually.
What about watching? Are you currently watching anything?
I don't really. I'm gonna sit down. I'm more of a scroller. I'm an Instagram scroller, TikTok scroller. I just scroll for days.
Awesome. Okay. Speaking of Instagram, by the way, you spoke to my team during COVID.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
I just want to thank you so much. Like you are you will do anything that anybody asks of you. I feel like if it involves volleyball, and so like, so awesome. Like, you probably do this, do some things, and it's just huge. Sometimes we'll message somebody. I'm like, nope, they read it, but they're not even giving me a middle finger or anything back. So, yeah.
No, I love like having conversations, and I think about myself too. Like how much I would have loved to learn, and I think if I can give that to any if I can share what people share with me, like why hold that in? And if I have the time, like why not?
That's cool.
That is so
cool.
awesome. Jordan, I also talked to her team and she's yet to say thank you. So I'm glad that she, appreciates you and recognized that. So, that's really good.
Here we go.
Obviously our, podcast is coaching, caffeine, and comedy. So we have to ask, what is your caffeine of choice?
Oh, caffeine of choice. I'm a 4-shot Americano kind of girl.
Oh, girl.
Yep.
Soul
So
sisters.
is Lena.
Yes.
So is Lena.
I don't like the sweet. Yes, that is beautiful.
No.
The Americano, shot in the dark. That's the way to go.
It is. I'm also like into a red eye. Do you know what a red eye is?
No, what is that?
No, red eye is filter coffee with a shot of espresso in it.
Okay,
So
so
I've heard about this.
but filter,
Yeah.
because we call that a shot in the dark. Is that different than a shot in the
Okay.
dark? Because ours,
Okay.
that's a shot of espresso in coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
I
No,
think that's
so
just the
I've-
fancier McCook term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Red eye.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start calling it that now, just to throw people off.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
so awesome.
And then our last question is, this is something Lena and we try to do. Like, we feel like if you're more grateful for just like everything, like being able to wake up every morning, you become a better person. So every podcast we do, we say one person that we are grateful for. And so like, of course, you're probably grateful for so many people, but today, who are you grateful for and why?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love this. So I would say randomly, last August beginning, relatively, I did a team camp in Texas at Flower Mound High School, and head coach there, her name is Jamie Siegel, and one of my actual former teammates played there. She's an assistant coach there, and I went there to do a 3-day team camp. And it was my first time actually like running a team camp. Like normally I'm like an assistant coach to something. And so I was kind of nervous, and I was like, I really wanted to have open dialogue with her of just like, hey, what do you want out of this? And after every session, just really debriefing. And we really just kind of hit it off as friends. And she, like, I think it was like when I was getting ready to leave, she's like, I feel like I've known you my whole life. Like, I don't know what's this about this, but I don't know. And like, we just kind of kept in contact, and like, I've gone through some things in the last year, and she has been like just in my corner. I mean, every day, like just chatting it up, and I am so grateful. Like I feel like I've known her probably the shortest in my life of all my friends. Like I've had really long-term friends, but she shows up for me every day, and I am so thankful. So
That's awesome. It's some of the people that you meet like later on in life that they're just meant to be in your book.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been really so cool. And I try to tell her every day, like how grateful I am, because she has no idea what she's done for me. And I'm like, you don't even, I mean, you know me, right? But you don't really like my family's known me the longest. So it's a different thing, and something that I'm very, very appreciative of. So
That's awesome.
It's so cool. Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for doing this.
Yes.
No, this was awesome. And you guys, the sarcasm, I am so here for it. I love it so much.
Yes.
Well, maybe one day we'll come visit you in Lincoln.
Yeah.
We can go out to eat.
And if you want me to send you my junior high St. Pat's Knights volleyball schedule, I'd be happy to do it, because I'm sure you're dying to get to it.
Come into a gym with no AC. And
Yeah,
Really?
6th through 8th
What are you
grade.
talking about? You're flying out here in August. I'm going to be gone for
That's
the game.
right. Yes, got to cover you. Yes,
Yeah,
anything
that's a
for
good
you.
one.
Yep.
After this, I'm going to call Karch and be like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. Get that done. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jordan. I hope you have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, guys.
Thanks.
All right. See ya.
Wow.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun. But now
I think she likes us.
I think
she's going to
wants
be
hang out.
inviting us to some games.
Probably going to send me a birthday card in August.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she wants to do that.
Yeah. Can you make it out in California?
What do you mean, can I make it?
I don't know.
I love California. If Jake and I had to move somewhere, we've already talked about it.
Oh, really? It'd be
Yes.
California.
I've been in Temecula, San Diego, Chula
Oh, wow.
Vista. Yeah.
Look at you. Just throwing
Many
lingo
times.
around like
Well,
where
I've
it's in
been there.
California.
I've driven on the freeway in California.
Wow.
I know.
So impressed by you.
Well, I mean, sometime.
I think we should go out to visit in
Yep.
Lincoln
Oh, yeah, we can do
after
that.
August,
Yes.
and
Why
we'll just
not?
hit her up.
Well, yeah, we're going to go out to eat.
We have her number.
Is it Laszlo's? Is that the one?
Laszlo's. We'll just be like, hey, sister, we got reservations.
Yep, we're getting some steak and butter.
Yeah, we got a seat for you.
Yep.
Hope to see you there.
We'll wait. We have nowhere else to be. We will wait.
Well, that was good, though.
It was. But
that was so good.
You have to say now who you're thankful for.
Oh, yeah. She was saying that. I was like, oh, I don't know who I'm thankful for. I'm going to say our sponsors.
Good job.
Yes, all of them.
I mean, she said Americano, and that is the exact drink. I did iced. I did an iced Americano today from Jolton Joe's.
Yeah, Jolton Joe's.
Thank you.
El Porto.
Wild ass soap.
Yeah, like without those guys, I mean, we couldn't have some cool stickers to give away.
Or awesome equipment.
Exactly, or the equipment to make it sound so good where you're not turning it up and turning it down. And
that was
so huge thank you to our sponsors. What about you?
I'm going to say Jenna Morgan. I've met her through our girls playing softball, and we can agree to disagree, which I love about good adult friendships. We don't have to agree on everything, and she's raising good little people. Like, that says a lot about a person when you have silly, lighthearted, kind, funny kiddos, I mean, who still can be like competitive or serious or have moments, but like they're good kids. They're good kids for my kids to be around, and they're the kind of people who, her and her husband will hold my kids accountable as well. So it's just fun. It's just fun that I can be me, and it can be too much sometimes, and she can, let that be known, and then we just move on.
Jenna at that softball game where I showed up, I mentioned something about your visor, and then she chimed in. I love it.
Yeah.
And she's raising great humans. They were at the same VBS as mine.
Oh, okay.
And like one of her girls, I'm like, have they ever hung out? But they did hang out with my kids at your house.
Oh, yeah.
And like, they like came up and ran and gave Letty hugs. They're super, super sweet girls.
Yeah,
So yeah. Good job. Good job, Jenna. She's from Alaska?
Yes. Oh, God. She brings it up all the time.
Really?
It's like,
what does she do? What does she do?
She just brings that up. That's what she does. She talks about that, where she grew up. Okay, we get it. Fine, enough.
Well, I want to talk to her.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
People from Alaska probably have some fun stories to tell.
Well, I don't know. I usually tune it out. I start having somebody play up the walk-up music a little louder. Are you watching anything new currently?
No, I'm reading. So after the Bridgerton, Queen Charlotte, I was just like, so I ordered the prequel books, prequel.
I don't know what you're doing over there. So is that
prequel books? Those are the before the sequel.
Before. Okay.
Yeah, so I ordered those 3 before, and they were like before Bridgerton. So I ordered those. So I've been reading those, and I still have 2 episodes to finish in Manifest, but I'm like, I can't finish because I'm just so nervous. Like, what's going to happen? Have you finished?
No. Sometimes I will hold on to the last 1 or 2 episodes for months because I don't want something to be over.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know if I can stop looking at him.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fine.
What about you?
We are watching Critter Fixers. It's
Fixers.
adorable. It's a little vet show. These 2 guys that run a vet clinic, and it's just
you watch a lot of vet clinic shows.
It's things we can watch as a family, and then they learn. So there's been a lot of
questions.
They just call it castration. Like, they don't even like beat around the bush. Like, they're like neutering. They're gonna cast. Like, it's just out there. But no, it's so fun because it's something we get to watch together, and we only will watch usually like 1 episode every, whenever we could have family TV time. And, but it's just really wholesome. It's just great. And they're really funny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I take it back. I am watching Shiny Happy People. I watched that when I'm folding clothes.
So Chelsea Hartwell told me I have to watch that, and I just don't know if I can go there.
I'm only halfway through the first episode because, like, again, I need a clothes folding show, and I've already watched Schitt's Creek about 3. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is taking a different turn.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for it, but it is on my list.
Yeah.
Are you reading anything?
I already told you that.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
What about you?
Yeah, Sunset Beach. By Mary Kay. I think it's Andrews. I've read all of hers.
Dirty.
It's not. But a lot of her books are set up the same. Okay, yeah, you were watching prequels. Usually you're doing like self-help stuff, so it sticks a little more.
Right.
But that's like watching all the Harry Potters and then going and reading the books. It's pretty much what I felt like kind of what you're doing. But anyway.
Well, I'm glad you guys see me again today. We need some music.
We do. Is there any do we need the Husker? Is there anything we can play that's
like the Husker, like just
there's probably some
screams
licensing
Huskers.
thing, yeah, that
Let's see here. Husker.
yeah, you need to do that.
Husker. Could you talk or something?
Well, I mean, I feel like I've carried us for the last hour. I mean, if you want to
Oh my
get
goodness.
the music to play, would be nice. Okay, so besides Critter Fixers, we did rewatch Wednesday. I mean, that's
yeah,
cute.
you were saying about that.
Yeah, not that you're listening because you're trying to find music. Okay, there we go. Yep,
Do you know this song?
I do.
Well, this was a good episode.
Thank you, fans.
Yeah. Thank you, Jordan.
Yes, thank you, Jordan.
Yes.
See you in August. Well, we won't see you in August, but we'll take care of your responsibilities in
Yes.
August. You're welcome.
Yes. All right. Until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching, Caffeine, and Comedy. I am your host, Hayley Kopza.
And I'm Lena.